Okay, in the last class we were discussing about pre-coordinating indexing system, and so far we discussed about chain indexing and precise indexing system, right? So continuing with that, we are going to discuss POPC, that is postulate based permuted subject indexing. Okay, so we will see what this is, and this will be the last indexing system we will be discussing about pre-coordinate systems. Okay, so we will see what POPC is and how we will able to derive index terms using this POPC method. Okay, so POPC, as I said earlier, POPC is an acronym. It stands for postulate based permuted subject indexing. It is a kind of pre-coordinate indexing system. It is developed by Ganesh Bhattacharya. It uses analytic synthetic method for string formulation and permutation of constituent terms in order different approach point to the document. So it uses analytic synthetic method. So don't get what you say. Don't get confused with these different kinds of difficult vocabularies. So when you see the practical, you will definitely understand what is these kind of methods, right? String formulation is, we saw in precis there are input strings. Similarly, these also follow input strings. Okay. So POPC does not depend on class number. So only chain indexing system depends on class number. Even precis and POPC does not depend on class number. It is based on Ranganathan's postulate and principles of general theory. That's why it is named as postulate based permuted subject indexing. It is not on class numbers. It is based on postulates. So there are different types of structures in POPC. So what are they? There are semantic, elementary, and syntactic. So semantic is nothing but the science of language. Okay. So science of words. So it refers to the structure in the in the dimension of denoting or comprehension. So it is the semantics. It is the words. It is a structure of words. Okay, it represents like genus species for like uh, male human being, bird, animal, like the genus species. Whole part we saw in the last example also. Interfacet relationship. So these kind of structure refers to semantic, and elementary structure is POPC has 5 elementary structures. We will see in the forthcoming slides. What it does is these elementary structures define the classification of document according to their various elements. Okay, simple. Remember it like that. POPC has different elementary structures which define, categorizes the document according to their nature of the element. Okay, we will see that with a specific example. And syntactic. What do you mean by syntax actually? In coding, there is a syntax. In coding, they will call it as syntax. In whatever programming language. Syntax is nothing but a set of rules. Syntax is nothing but a set of rules. Similarly, step 1, step 2, step 3, like that. So similarly, POPC, chain indexing, whatever it is, it follows a syntactic structure. That means there is a step for preparing this. There is a step for preparing these kind of index entries, right? So it is a structure in the dimension of the horizontal sequence. What do you mean by horizontal sequence? Vertical is top to bottom. Horizontal is left to right, horizontal sequence, like a flat line. So the syntactic structure, it follows a horizontal sequence of the elementary constituents of subject proposition. So when we see what are the elementary structures and how it is formulated into that horizontal sequences based on the parameters or entities of those different elements. Okay. So this is syntax. In normal words, you remember syntax as a set of rules. Okay. It follows horizontal structure. Elements is, there are different element categories. There are different kinds of categories followed by POPC, and they are for categories according to the different nature of the elements, and we will see what are they. So these are the different elementary categories. Okay, what are they? Discipline, entity, action, property, modifier. In the short, they call it as DEPAM. DEPAM. Remember this. DEPAM method is in DEPAM method comes under POPC. In short, acronym is DEPAM. Discipline, entity, property, action, modifier. DEPAM. So these are the elementary categories. A subject is categorized based on these 5 elements. Okay. You will see what these are. Okay, I told you syntax is nothing but a set of rules of syntax with reference to ECs. So based on this only, there is a rules formed. Okay. The syntax is based on Ranganathan's theory of classification, general theory of classification. A set of indicator digits or notations to denote the ECs and their subdivisions. So for every EC there is a set of notation symbols. In Precis we saw a table, right? Like this in POPC also there is a table representing notation symbols. So based on that table only they will categorize this. Okay. An vocabulary control device designated as Clasaurus. So this is a new word for you. In that question they will ask who developed Clasaurus. Clasaurus was developed by Ganesh Bhattacharya. It is a vocabulary control device for the terminologies used in POPC. Okay, for subject indexing language. A Clasaurus is a vocabulary control. What are the terminologies used in? Like what is EC, what is discipline, what is entity, like this. There are different vocabularies, right? So for it is kind of a thesaurus, but he named it as Clasaurus. Okay, a vocabulary control device. So if in the NET examination, if they ask about Clasaurus, it is for POPC. It is developed by Ganesh Bhattacharya. Remember that. So we will see what these different element categories are in accordance with DEPAM. Remember this DEPAM concept. DEPAM. Okay. D is discipline. We know what is a discipline is. We are from library science discipline. Simple. An elementary category that includes the conventional field of study. Okay. Or any aggregate such field artificially created fields analogous to those mentioned above. So based on the title, the D category falls for discipline like physics, library science, information science, biotechnology. So these kind of conventional category, conventional field of study falls into D category, that is discipline. So next time I won't use this discipline, I will just say D. Okay, remember this DEPAM concept, D for discipline. Okay, so physics, everything falls on the D category, discipline category. So what is E is entity. We saw entity even in what you call this is also an elementary category that includes manifestation having perceptual correlates or only conceptual existence as contrasted with their properties or actions performed by them. So what in simple you remember, so these are mechanical definitions, standard definitions. I want you not to mug up the definition. I want you to understand the concept. Okay. So what is an entity? It represents the actions performed by the discipline. Simple. Remember like that you will understand. Then you read the mechanical definition, structured definition. It is the actions performed by them or on them. Let it be performed by them or on them. Okay. In physics, energy is action. Okay. Energy is an action. Light, plants. In botany, plant is an action. So these kind of words comes into entity category. Place, time, environment. These are some kind of example that falls into entity category. So based on the title, we are going to divide this into discipline, DEPAM concept. So what is discipline? What is the entity? So we are having only title. So based on the title, we are going to classify it according to this category, and then we are assigning certain notations using the POPC table, and we are going to derive index entries. Simple. A is action. We all know what action is. An elementary category that includes manifestation denoting the concept of doing. Action is doing something. I am studying. I am watching TV. So watching is doing. You are doing something. So that kind of words are called action. An action may manifest itself as a self-action or external action. You can do it yourself or an external. If you are pushing, if the ball does not move itself, okay, the table doesn't move because there is an external action required to push the table. Okay, it does not move by itself. Those kind of action is called as external. When external force is applied, it is called as external action. Like what are those external action? Functions, migration, or self-function, migration, or self-actions. Remember this. Treatment, selection, organization, because you are treating something that is external. Automatically your fever won't go. You need to provide some medicine. That medicine is external action. That treatment is external action. Okay. The function of the body, that is an self-action. It automatically functions. Automatically it functions, right? The clock runs. Automatically it runs. Okay. When it stops, you need to do an external action, like what you call battery, inside a battery. So selection, organization, evaluation, these are external action. Okay, whatever function and migration or internal action. Birds automatically migrate, okay, depending upon the climate, right? It moves from one place to another place. So treatment means automatically you cannot cure your fever, right? You need to take some external medicine. So these kind of actions are called external, and function and migration falls into self. So you should understand these differences, okay? So coming to the P, what is property? So we saw what is D, discipline, E, entity, action, and property. Remember like this, DEPAM. Okay, property is an elementary category that includes manifestation denoting the concept of attribute. So here property is denoting attribute, concept of attribute. That may be either qualitative or quantitative, whatever it may be. You remember the property associated with attribute. So effect, power, capability, efficiency, utility, form. What, for example, this form, what kind of form is this? What kind of utility is this? What form of document is this? So what power, what is the power? What is the power of, what is the horsepower of something like that? What is the capability of this machine? What is the efficiency of this machine, like that? So these kind of attribute concepts are denoted or falls into the property category. And next is the modifier, M. An idea used to qualify the manifestations of any one of the elementary categories without disturbing its conceptual wholeness. So without disturbing the DEPA conceptual wholeness, whichever comes there, it falls into this modifier category. It decreases the modifier, decreases the extension and increases the intention. So in what do you say, in modes of formation of subject, we studied about this concept, right? Decreasing extension and increasing intention, right? I hope you remember this. Of the qualified manifestation without it does not disturb the whole concept. Okay, it does not disturb the whole concept, but it can modify it. Without disturbing, it can modify any one of the elementary categories or two or more. It can modify either discipline, entity, action, or property without disturbing the concept. That is the concept of modifiers. So we will see that how it can does. So there are two types actually. So one is common and one is special. So common modifiers usually refers to space, like Indian music, 15th century drama, and environment like desert birds and desert camels, dictionary of physics, and form. Form is dictionary of physics. Common modifiers have the property of modifying a combination of two or more elementary categories. See, your common modifiers, modifying means you are something, changing something, right? Modifying something. Okay, you are modifying according to the requirement. So common for modifiers capable of modifying two or more elementary categories. What are the elementary categories? DEPA. Okay, these are the elementary categories. So they can be capable of modifying two or more. So you see form. Form comes under property category. It has the ability to modify it. Okay, so when dictionary of physics, dictionary is a form of physics. Physics is a discipline. See, it is modifying. So dictionary is a form and physics is a discipline. Here dictionary, if you take dictionary alone, it is a form only. So form is a property. And physics, if you take physics alone, it is a discipline. So it is modifying like dictionary of physics. So these kind of modifications comes under M. So you cannot write it separately. D and P and D, you cannot write it. So you have to write this as a modifier. To combine the concept of modifying certain things, certain elementary categories, this was instituted. So common modifiers refers to space, environmental and form. Remember this, space, environment and form. It has the property of modifying more than two or more elementary categories. So what do you mean by special modifiers? It is used to modify only one of the, it will modify only one of the elementary categories. If it is two or more, it is common. If it is one, it is special. We will see that. So that is, it may be of discipline or entity or property or action based, whatever it is. So special modifiers, again special modifiers is divided into two types. Those require a phrase or auxiliary words to be inserted between the terms, thus forming a complex phrase, like indexing using computers. Okay, so using is the auxiliary term here. Those do not require a auxiliary words or phrase in between the terms, like infectious diseases. Okay, it modifies only any one category. Okay, not all the categories. Here common modifier modifies more than one category, elementary category. Here you see both dictionary is a form is a property, and physics is a discipline. It modifies both, so it comes under CM. Common modifier is CM, special modifier is SM. It modifies only one, indexing using computers. So there is using is an auxiliary term. So it forms a complex phrase. Indexing is separate, computer is separate. So using an auxiliary term, it becomes a special modifier. So here or it denotes some species or types, infectious diseases. This comes under special modifier. So okay, these are the concepts related to SIL. What is SIL? Subject indexing language. An indexing system is a combination of both organizing classification and associative classification. So you should know what is organizing classification and associative classification. So combining both these classification systems forms the basis for indexing system. So OC is organizing classification, categorization of concept based on genus, species, whole part, and other phases. Like what do you say? Human, living being, bird, bird, animal kingdom, tree, plant kingdom. These are genus spaces. These kind of classification are organization based, right? Organization based. Here classification used to rank each subject by COSCO. What is COSCO? Coordinate, superordinate, subordinate, collateral relationships. So I'm not going into these relationships detail because I want to know the concept only. Don't go. I'm not, because my aim is to teach you POPC. Okay, so you must understand what the concept. Organization classification uses this scheme to classify and rank subject. Okay, organization classification based on genus, species, whole part. Okay, it is achieved by means of interpolation and extrapolation. It always results in a hierarchy. Hierarchy means top to bottom or something, certain level of arrangement. So coming to associative classification, it is distinguished, that means differentiated from other subject based on the reference how it is associated. So how it is associated with other subject. So you are differentiating one subject from another subject based on the reference of how it is association. When we see this example, we will understand. So it does not associative classification does not follow COSCO relationships. It always, the result of associative classification is always a relation index. There is a relation between subjects, and based on the relation there is a difference. The difference is identified. So these are the base and core concept. What do you mean by base concept and core concept? So in constructing compound subjects, you know what is compound subject, right? There is more than one subject, more than one primary or basic subject. The major portion of information relating to particular manifestation of particular element category, that is base. So in a complex subject proposition, any of the subjects can be decided to base subjects, and the core subject lies within the base. So we will see with this an example so that you can understand. So it depends upon the collection of library. For example, in DDC system, you take medicine. Okay, you take medicine as the base subject, human body organs as the core of the base, right? So medicine is the base for classifying. Okay, medicine is the base for classifying, and subjects falling under human body organs is the core of the base, because base is medicine, human body comes under medicine, organs also comes under medicine. So core is a subset of the base. That means core lies within the base. So depending upon the collection and the nature of classification system, base and concepts varies. So this is a difference. So this is a technical definition. Don't get too confused about it, right? The major portion of information relating to particular element category. Okay, what is the particular element category here? Medicine is a particular element category. So it is the base. Core is the concepts associated with that base. Simple. So medicine is the base, and human body and organs are the core of the base. So core falls within the base. Remember this. So what are the characteristics? So there are three important characteristics: analysis, synthesis, and permutation. Okay. So we will see this when we see an example what they are. So the work of analysis and synthesis based on the deep structure of subject indexing language. What do you mean by that? But mean deep structure of subject indexing languages. Deep structure means there is a subject which is deep and there is a layer which is at the top. Okay. So for example, if you take a pineapple, the layer will be top, and inside you take a whatever fruit you take, the outer layer is the skin part. That is the superficial part. Inside the fruit is the deep layer. So like that, the subject are categorized. There is a superficial layer that represents the deep structure of the document. Okay, that is the concept of DS. Okay, the task of analysis and synthesis of POP-C basic is largely guided by the POP-C table. Yeah, that is true. So all the notations and everything is available in POP-C table. So based on that, so for discipline there is a number. For property there is a number. DEPAM, entity there is a number. So based on the table only they classify it. So the feature of this table is essential for mechanizing the horizontal arrangement of manifestation in subject propositions as well as for the vertical alphabetization leading to organizing classification. Okay. So this feature table allows you the mechanization, means it follows a set of rules. Based on this table only they classify the subject propositions. So what are the subject it constitutes? Propositions means what are the elements and elements horizontally. I told you that it follows an horizontal structure. POP-C follows an horizontal structure and it alphabetizes. After following the structure, you need to alphabetize it according to ABCD. And it follows a vertical alphabetization, which finally leads to organizing classification. We will see that in the example, right? So these are the logical sequence, right? So basic sequence as prescribed in the postulate associated with DSILs. A special type follows immediately after the manifestation in relation to the species type part. So there are, the table itself is a self-explanatory, which indicates certain rules and regulations for this basic sequence. Okay, we will see that when you come in the table. The theory part, what you say, it will be so vague because I'm just saying the theory. So when you see the example, you will definitely understand. I know what I told you, what is a modifier, right? It helps you to modify either one elementary category or more than one elementary category. So we will see. So in subject propositions for organizing classification, manifestation are arranged horizontally in decreasing sequence of the ordinal values of the notation. So you remember POP-C follows horizontal arrangements according to the subject proportions, according to the notation given in the POP-C table. Notation means symbols. So there are different symbols given in the POP-C table. So according to that, it follows a horizontal structure. Okay. So when arranged horizontally in the decreasing sequence of their ordinal values, the punctuation, hyphen, and whatever punctuation marks like comma, full stop fall in the same sequence only. The horizontal sequence of the manifestation modifier, species type or part is same as mentioned in the above. Whatever it is mentioned in the above, the horizontal sequence for modifier should be same. In the vertical sequence of subject proposition, the ordinal values fall in the following sequence. In the horizontal, it follows the same sequence, whereas in the vertical sequence, comma comes first, full stop second, and hyphen. We'll see that this is an example. Don't worry. So coming to an example, this is the POP-C table. So please have a good look at it. This is the POP-C table. So 0 stands for form modifier, 1 stands for general treatment, 2 is phase relation, 3 is then coming to common modifiers. 3, 4, 5 are common modifiers, right? 3 is CM. Common modifier is CM. And we saw what is core and base, right? We saw what is core concept and base. So we saw base and what is the core of the base. And entity discipline, we saw what is discipline and what is entity. And you see here, in entity discipline, there is a point 1, point 2. That means if the relationship, if the subject represents action of an entity, it becomes 6.1. If the subject represents action of a discipline, it becomes 7.1. So depending upon the, see, they are dependent ECs. They are to be preceded by the notation to which the ECs are to which these are dependent. Okay, so if it is dependent to entity, so action, then it comes 6.1. If it is dependent to discipline, it comes 7.1 or 7.2 depending upon the nature. Okay, we will see this with an example. So this is the table, POP-C table. So this is the rule book. Okay, so based on this only we will classify it, and we will prepare index entries. So far we studied only the theory part. So these are the steps of POP-C. So I'm going to tell each and every step with a specific example. So please follow this. Step 1 is analysis. So we saw that. Or you know what is analysis, right? So subject indicative expression or the starting point of the index generation, that may be a title of a paper, book, or anything. According to the first stage, the expression is analyzed to identify the facet in terms of concept and modifiers. So there is a title. In PRECIS also we did that, right? University libraries in West Bengal. So we did the analysis and we followed expressive title like measurement of performance of university libraries. So that means you are expressing the title. Okay. Here also you need to expression is analyzed to identify the facets. You need to identify the facets in terms of what are the concept it is talking about and what are the modifiers, what it has been modified. So here you see this is the title. So follow this. This is the title. Use of computers for indexing of educational films in university libraries in India. Use of, that is the title given to you, and you need to prepare indexing terms based on POPSI method. So you have to do this. So how will you do? First step is content analysis. So use of, this is the title we got. Only this we will get. Based on this we have to do it. Computers for indexing of educational films in university libraries in India. So now we are going to content analysis based on the elementary categories. What are the elementary categories? DEPAM, DEPAM. Remember that. So library and information science is the discipline here. So discipline here, but but the discipline is not mentioned here. But we know based on the title we can understand. Oh, this title falls in the library and information science category. So library and information science is a discipline. Implicit. What do you mean by implicit? Implicit means which is not clearly stated. Here there is no library and information science. Based on the title we know this is library science, but that is not clearly stated. That is inside. Okay, this title falls inside library information science. So library information science is not explicit. That means not visible. So that's why they have written implicit for your understanding. So university library is an entity. University library is an entity. So we know what is entity, right? What do you mean by entity? I'll take you back. Don't worry. So that you can understand. You need to remember this. Then only entity is a elementary category that denotes the action or performed by them. Okay. It denotes the action. It may be energy, lights, plant, like actions performed by them or on them. So here, indexing action or whatever action is performed on them, not by them. Okay. You need to remember this DEPAM concept very well so that you can. So here, university library is an entity. Here, university library is explicit. So that's why they have given it as explicit. Okay. Use of computers for indexing of educational films in university libraries. So the certain actions are performed in university libraries. So since action is performed, that's why university library comes under entity. So next, educational films. That is also an entity. Yeah, that is also an entity. What they are doing? Educational films. So there is indexing is an action of educational films. They are doing indexing of educational film. So education film, there is an action on educational film. So that action falls into entity category. So here they have written as part of E. What do you mean by part of E? So university library is an entity. So here educational films is a part of university library. Correct? Huh? So educational films is a collection. Education films is a collection which is available in the university library. So we know university library is a entity, right? So education films is a part. So it's a collection. That means it is a part. So that's why they have written this as part of E. So this is also explicit because there is educational films in the title. It is visible. So it is explicit. Indexing is a of part of E. Indexing is a of part of E. A is action. Indexing is the action performed here. Indexing is the action performed here. University libraries is the action which it is performed on. So indexing is the direct action. That's why it falls in A. You need to understand the difference. Either indexing, university libraries, indexing of educational films. That means in university libraries, indexing of films is performed in university libraries. See, action is performed in libraries. That is why university library is entity. So indexing is the direct action. So it falls under A. So A of part of E. We know part of E is educational films. Educational films is a part of university library. So now indexing is the action. So A represents action. So the part of E represents educational films. E represents university library. See how they are deriving. On next, use. Use is the application. That is the phase relation. Application is the phase relation in the number 2. In the number 2. See 2.6. Application is there. So it follows the phase relation. Here application. You see there is an application. Use is application. Use of means you are using something, you are applying something. So use comes in the application process. So it is an explicit, it is a phase relation, application of phase relation. So computer is an entity, like what you say, computer is an entity, like plants, energy, and that is an entity. Base special modifier. We saw what is special modifier, right? We saw what is special modifier. There are two types of modifier. One is common modifier and what is special modifier. It modifies only one or only one elementary category. Here entity is modified. Indexing by computer. Computers for indexing. Computers for indexing. So it comes under E based special modifier. So SM is explicit. India is a common modifier, like place. Place we saw in common modifier, right? Place, 15th century drama, Indian history. So India is a common modifier. So see how they have content analyzed. They have analyzed the content according to the elementary categories of DIPAM. So again I am telling you, please follow this. Library Information Science is a discipline. It is not available in the title, but we know it is Library Information Science based on the title, so it is implicit. University library is an entity because indexing action is performed on university libraries, performed in university libraries. Action which is performed either by or on. So that's why it is an entity, it is not an action. So educational films is a collection in university libraries. So it becomes a part of that entity. Okay, it becomes a part. Okay, this becomes a part. So then indexing is a direct action. That's why it is A of part of E. Use is the application. So is use of indexing. He is applying indexing techniques. Simple. So that means application falls in the phase relation. Okay. So that is PR. Computers. Computers is a entity based special modifier. It is an entity as a single, it is an entity, but indexing, computers using computers for indexing. So he is using computers for indexing. So it is an entity based special modifier that is represented as SM. So here you can see computers for indexing. So computer is an entity based special modifier that is explicit. Whatever which is available in the title is explicit, which is not available in the title is implicit. So India, we know that is a place, environment, and other place, environment and space, everything is common modifier, right? So this is how this is the first step. We have categorized it. So now we will move on to the second step, that is formalization. So in the formalization, what we do is the sequence of component derived has to be analyzed and has to be decided. We have just did the content analysis. Now we have to form the sequence according to a logical order that has to be derived. Okay. Arrangement of component terms according to the principles of sequence components indicating the status of each term. Applying these principles, the components are followed in the manner to obtain the basic shape. So this is called 1, 2, 3. This is called horizontal, and this top to bottom is called vertical. So now we are forming the analysis of the subject content in a horizontal sequence based on the status of each component term. See, we didn't change anything, but we have just formed into a standard sequence. So library science is D, university libraries is E, educational films part of E, and then indexing, use, computers, India. So we have formed it into the sequence based on the sequence of components in horizontal order. Remember this. Next is modulation. So it is assumed that all the terms in formalized expression. So this is the formalized expression of the subject shown above are standard terms. So all the terms which are in formalized order are shown in standardized terms. So we will see what is standardization, right? So standardization is concerned with semantics. I already told you what is semantics, the use of language, the use of science of language. Semantics is the science of language. So you are going to add some terms. You are going to add some terms that helps for reference purposes. Okay. It is done using vocabulary control usually. For step 3 and 4, Clausaurus has been suggested to use. So that is why this Clausaurus is like a Bible for POPSI. Okay, it is like a specific kind of thesaurus which is designed for POPSI, for preparing index entries. So you see in standardization, library and information science is discipline. There is no change in this. In university library, you see they have added libraries and academic libraries. So they are adding semantics. They are standardizing it according to they are adding certain new terms for better understanding. So university libraries falls under libraries, and they are categorized into academic libraries. See here, there is no library and academic library, but we are categorizing it for better understanding. So for that you need to use Clasaras. That is what Bhattacharya is suggesting. So in which category this is falls under? So libraries, we all know that university libraries comes under academic library, and academic library falls under library. And see, educational films is a resource contained in university library. So it is a education film comes under film. Let it may be microfilm or microfiche, whatever may be. It is a film document. So it is a source of information. Like book or journal, it is a source, right? So instead of it is in a book or magazine, it is a film. It is a film, so it is a source which represents films, right? So it follows education films is is an information source in the film category. It's not a book or a journal. It is a film category. So it basic is information source. See how they are standardizing it with the use of appropriate semantics. They are using appropriate words to denote the concept of the subject. So indexing they have left it as it is. It is a of part of E. Use also as it is. Computers also as it is. You see, for India they have added a property of Asia because India falls in the Asia. If you want, you can add world also, but world is a generic term. So Asia is a specific continent. So that's why they have added it. Okay. So that is a common modifier. So standardization involves the adding of semantics. That is appropriate semantics. You need to add appropriate. You cannot just add something. It should be related. It should be related to the part. If you can't add it, you just leave it. Simple as that. Okay. If there is no chance of adding anything, you can leave it. It is to improve. It is to improve the sort headings, right? Next is preparation of UOC. What is UOC? Entry for organizing classification. As I told you, it involves both the combination of associative as well as organizing classification. So it consists of preparing the entries for organizing classification. How they do that? Inserting appropriate notation from the POPSI table. Now we are going to the POPSI table, right? So library and information science is discipline. Here there should be 7, but 7 I think it's missing. Library science is a discipline. So discipline is represented by 7. You see, right? So entity is 6. So action is, if the entity is based on action, that is 6.1. So you will see. So when you are inserting notation according to the POPSI table, you are making entries for organizing classification. So here you can write 7 here for discipline. Library and information science. 6 libraries and entity. We know that. See, because library is an entity. Entity falls in 6, right? And and this is also an entity. Education films is also an entity. This is a part of E. So libraries, academic libraries, university libraries, all these are 6. Information sources, films, everything is 6. Indexing is a part. Index 6.1 they have given is indexing is a part of entity. Okay, indexing is a part of entity. That is, indexing is a part of entity. That is information sources, film, education films, that is the part of entity. So that is 6.1. Sorry, that is 6.1. Okay. So indexing is using is 2.6. That is space relation. So computers is 5. So this is how they are giving numbers based on notations given in the table, right? So after that you have to decide which terms you are going to use. That key terms are called as terms of approach. Okay, that terms are called as terms of approach. Okay, one second, man. So here I think they have made a mistake in this example. I want to show you. See, discipline is represented by 7. Okay, I want to show you the number. I think here this number is somewhat wrong. Here 7 should come. Libraries, academic libraries, university libraries, 6. That is correct, because that is an entity. And now we are going to discuss the part of entity. Okay, what is the part of entity? Information sources, film, education films are a part of entity. So part of entity, see, part of entity is 6.1, right? 6.1. Entity and part is 6 or 6.1. Okay. So part of entity is 6. That can be also 6, no issues. Okay, fine. That's what they have given it. And then 6.1 indexing. What is indexing? Indexing is an action. Action is 6.1. So I just want you to give a clear understanding about the numbers, how they have used. Okay. So 6.1 is action. Action here is indexing. That is a direct action. So 6 is entity part. That is also okay. So 6 is part of entity. That is also represented as 6 only. Okay. So that means education, films, information sources, films are 6 only. That is correct. Sorry. And then 6.1 is indexing. Indexing is the action. Action is action on part of entity. That's why it's coming as 6.1. 2.6 is face relation. We saw application, right? So and then computers is a modifier. Okay, that is modifier. Okay, we'll see what 5 is. So you need to understand how they have numbered. 5 is place, that is India. Okay, application. 2.6 is application, that is use. Okay, so place is India. So they have given it like this. Okay, using computers. So these things, these application, how they are applying indexing, how they are going to use, how they are applying indexing, use of computers. That's why this computer comes in 2.6 category and 5 comes in place category Asia India. I hope now you understand the number. So 6 is discipline, 7 is discipline, and 6 is the entity part. Information sources, film, educational films comes in the part. So that's why it is still in 6. So action. So action of the part of action is 6.1. That's why 6.1. So application comes in face relation. That's why they have used computer is the tool they are used to perform indexing. So that's why it's 2.6 and 5. That is the place we saw. That is Asia. So this is how the numbers are categorized. So now we are going to make a decision about the terms approach. TA is terms approach. What are the key terms we are going to use? So based on this entries of organizing classification, these are the key terms that are selected as approach terms. Libraries, academic libraries, university libraries, sources, films, education films, indexing, computers, India. So some may not be in the title, but we have added it for retrieving purposes for the user point of view, right? So see, now we are going to prepare entries for associative classification. So far we have organized. So in the organized classification we discussed about alphabet, we discussed about vertical arrangement. So this is a vertical arrangement. See, this is a vertical arrangement for organizing classification. Now we are going to do this, prepare the same entries for associative classification. This step consists of preparing under each approach terms and references. The first step will result in the following entries. You see, now what is the first keyword? Here first term, not keyword, here terms of approach. First term is library. So libraries is capitalized. In PRISIS we say this as, what you say? We call this as lead, qualifier and display. Here it is not like that. Terms of approach. So libraries is the first term of approach, and again you are adding all the entries of organizing classification, entries of you are preparing all the entries for organizing classification under this term of approach. So similarly you have to do this for academic library, university library, information sources, films, etc. And after that you have to arrange in alphabetical order in a word by word sequence. So this is the steps of POPC. So what is POPC actually? It is nothing but an extension of chain induction, but the problem of disappearing chain in chain indexing method is overcome using POPC. So it makes the indexing free from classification. In chain indexing you definitely need classification number, right? Here it is not like that. So it is free from classification, and it is not based on any particular classification scheme. It is based on general theory of classification. So this is all about POPC. It can be used in various ways to construct subject headings, generate SIE, subject index entries for classified catalog. It can be used in a number of bibliographical and indexing publications. So kindly go through these references for a better understanding of what is POPC and what is subject indexing language, and DS, deep structured subject indexing language, and various types of classifications, etc. So these references are useful for me to prepare this particular presentation. Thanks a lot.